He fed me eggs and bread and tea, and I was with him all the best years of my life and until the last day of his at the Percy Military Hospital in Paris when he passed away. I mention that not just because I feel always that he's watching over me, but because I want to tell the FBI man in the room would the FBI man in the room like to stand up and identify himself? I want to tell the FBI man in the room, I'm not a supporter myself of Hamas. I have never been a supporter of Hamas. But I am a supporter of democracy, and the only people entitled to choose the leadership of the Palestinian people are the Palestinian people themselves. I never accepted it in the past when London and Washington, still less Tel Aviv, refused to recognize Arafat as the leader of the Palestinian people. And I'm not going to accept it now when the leadership has been chosen in the only free and democratic election ever held in any Arab country at any time in history. And I have, as was said, done many things. In Dundee, in my small Scottish city, where we twinned Dundee with Nablus 29 years ago, and became the first public building in the Western world to fly the Palestinian flag. And you know what? It's still flying today on the City Hall 29 years later. I mention that because audacity, the audacity of hope, remember that? Audacity has to be our watchword. In the words of the great leader of the French Revolution, Danton, l'audace, encore l'audace, toujours l'audace. Audacity, again audacity, always audacity. That's the spirit with which we must approach this question. People told me I was crazy in 1980 to dream that we could officially twin our city with a town in Palestine, that we could bring a man with no legs, Bassam Shaka, the mayor of Nablus, whose legs were blown off in an Israeli terrorist attack, that we could fly this flag. It became one of the hottest controversies in which I have ever participated. They brought the entire leadership of the Jewish community to our city, wearing striped clothes from the death camps of Nazi Germany, to try to force us to take down this flag. But we refused. People said that you will never achieve it, but we did. And what I'm going to ask you to do tonight is audacious, yes. It's controversial, yes. But we cannot be afraid of controversy. When I appeared in front of the US Senate, in front of ex-Senator Norman Coleman of Minnesota, in 2005, he tried to bully me at the beginning with some procedural nonsense. I told him, Senator, don't make the mistake of imagining that I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of only God. I'm afraid of only God. I read in the newspapers. Last night I read in Cleveland a newspaper article that I was controversial. Even Lamis called me notorious. They said I was inflammatory. Well, I don't know what's controversial about what I'm saying. Everything I've been involved in turned out to be right. It's the people who were wrong who should be described as controversial. And what are we trying to sell? We're trying to sell the truth. That's all. It's not difficult. If the American people only knew what we know, they would flock to our banner in their millions. And it's our job to tell them. I had the misfortune of drinking one of the soft drinks here, Dr. Pepper. It's advertised as, well, try it. What's the worst that could happen? We're not trying to sell Dr. Pepper here. We're the Coca-Cola in this argument. We're the real thing in this argument. We're the ones who are telling the truth. But in honor of those who think I am, let me start out by talking about what I'm not going to be talking about. Nothing I'm going to say this evening is against the United States of America. Believe it or not, I'm the great-grandson of the only woman in the entire 19th century who emigrated from America to Scotland. It's true. It's true. The census shows she sailed from New York City to Dundee. And if you've ever seen Dundee, you'll understand what a peculiar decision that was. I think she got on the wrong boat. But that's what happened. So I'm a native New Yorker. I'm very proud to be so. In any case, what's not to love about this country? From sea to shining sea, with all its achievements, having brought together people from all the corners of the earth, the poor, the wretched, the huddled masses who yearn to be free. What's not to love about such a country? We're glad that by and large, nus, we share a common language. As Oscar Wilde said, we're two people divided by a common language. And by the way, there's a U in honourable and in coloured. One day we'll teach you how to use the language properly, the language of Shakespeare properly. We want a special relationship with the people of the United States. We just don't want the kind of special relationship Miss Lewinsky had with President Clinton. We want something rather more honourable, rather more equal and dignified than that. Just because I hated George W. Bush doesn't mean I hate the United States of America. Millions of Americans hated George W. Bush. Neither, still less, am I going to be speaking against Jews. This has nothing to do with religion. There are thousands of Jews, some of them here, who support justice for Palestine. We reject the synonym that Zionism equals Judaism. Jews lived in Palestine as neighbours with Christians and Muslims for centuries before Zionism poisoned the well and fueled this great catastrophe. Albert Einstein, the greatest Jew, the greatest mind of human history, was asked to be the first president of Israel. And he replied, I could